I should probably get some clinical mental health hours for this. I'm not even a mental health clinician, but I am mental. So, hey everyone, welcome back to Chimey River. I'm your host, Shane Lamba, and I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a while, and I've definitely said this before. I know it's like beating a damn horse, beating that damn horse, or ass, whatever you're into. But honestly, I just had to take a break. I feel like I've been going through these gigs, and these gigs have been kind of going through me. Predominantly, I really just needed to take care of my health. I feel like in the past year and a half, I've really let that kind of go. Not only am I taking care of my physicality, but I also have to take care of my mentality, right? So I know it's been a minute. It's been un minuto. Aspetta un minuto, por favor. Minute. That's just my cycle of, minute in different languages. And just wait for this one. I know German as well. Minute. So, we're back. We're brown. We're sexy. And we're here, right? So for those who don't know, Chimey River is a podcast for the bisexual, the brown, and the beautiful, the triple BBB. On today's episode, I definitely want to talk about what I've been up to. Not a shocker, work. I also am going to respond to some questions and some commentary from people who have dropped comments, who have sent me DMs, or, I filled out this form that I have magically, which will appear on the end of this, at the bottom of the screen. So if you have hot, juicy chai and you want me to talk about it, today's the episode that we are going to talk about it. I've had some wonderful, juicy, and spicy stories, which we'll get into. And then I also want to talk about something really near and dear to my heart. Recently, a paper got published, and I believe it actually got published today. So if you're watching this has just, been edited post a couple of days or a week or so. But we have a new publication that has been published in the Journal of Spinal Cord Medicine, and it is a super important study to me that one of my wonderful colleagues has actually written up, and the project is really special to me because it was one of the first research grants that I co-wrote or led the development of writing it, and essentially mapped out all these different methodologies and got funded the first time. So a very exciting project, not only as a researcher collecting data, analyzing data, but also someone who did the background work, the grunt work, right? The hard work. So if you are into that, stick around because we're going to get into it. So go grab your chai. Go grab a water because honestly it's fucking hot right now here in Southern California, and let's get into it. Are you a homosexual? Are you a homosexual? It's hot in this place, mama. It's so hot. Hey, little baby girl. Are you hot like me? Are you bisexual like me? Do you like getting your fucking pussy pounded like them?
You go, thank you, daddy, thank you, daddy, thank you, daddy, thank you, daddy. Fake. You.
Oh, yeah? Well, stick around and watch, listen, contribute, share, follow, and talk shit on Chimey River Podcast. Oh, yeah? Welcome back, everyone. This is my beautiful Are You Homosexual flag. Well, I mean, we're something else about a flag. Fan, and I also got the matching bandana. So if you know, you're probably at a Pride and you got this for free, or you stole it, like maybe I did, but who cares? I thought, let me try something new. It's not really new. I mean, I've grew up also wearing bandanas. If you're Punjabi, if you're Sikh, we would, when Punjabi people or Sikh people, or anyone really, essentially, because everyone is welcome, when anyone goes to the Gurdwara, which is our Punjabi temple or Sikh temple, and you probably have one in your area. There's often one in, we always say, like, every city. There's a Gurdwara everywhere. Wherever you go, wherever is foreign to you, somehow there's always a Gurdwara there. You have to cover your head out of respect. You can probably recollect or think about, people in your own lives, or in your own communities who wear turbans, who may cover their hair, who have long hair, as Sikhs, as Punjabi people, a lot of the times traditionally we're not supposed to cut our hair. However, that is different, and it's a case-by-case basis. Everyone is open to interpreting it themselves, and everyone's families interpret it different ways. So I'm used to wearing ramal, which is essentially a bandana. So today I thought, let me wear my bandana. I did get it at Pride when I was in WeHo, and I thought it's a cute, bright pink, hot pink color. Sent it to my friend, to my best friend, and he's like, this is giving cunt. This is cunt. So if you think this is cunt, press the number 1 in the comments, because I need to know. Should I keep giving this zhuzh? This zhuzh? Before I was wearing the singlet, so now I can start doing more top-like activities. Top-like activities. I'm so crazy. It's so hot, you guys. It's so hot. I love that drink. Okay, so what have I been up to? Honestly, work. Yeah. I just end the podcast right now. Work. Work, as my last episode, which you can definitely check out if you have not, where I go off of tangents about the job application, the hiring process, employment. That's really kind of where I've been in the past, month and a half. I think it's been about 2 months since I last spoke with you all, or spoke with my camera. But my last episode really really hit it off on the algorithm, particularly the algorithm on Instagram. So I think people like the DL, they see South Asian reveal stuff. But what's actually really funny to me is that it hasn't changed. And I think that people are still perpetrators of this. And it's the people in the community who are not in that position, right? So, if this was a DL Indian person and I'm out, it's people like me who are out and, living their life that are, causing the DL story to kind of escalate and escalate and escalate, essentially allowing it for it to happen, right? So there was a comment in one of my videos, and somebody was like, we need to stop giving these DLs attention and let them fuck each other. Let them fuck around with each other and ruin each other's lives, like the DL sisters are doing the DL sisters. But the problem is, the DL sisters know who the other DL sisters are. That's why they're not getting with those sisters. They're getting with the other guys or girls or theys, who might give them, a little ooh la la sensation. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. I mean, honestly, I've just been I've enjoyed summer. It's fucking hot here in California. The little bandana do. It better not come off, because it's like silk, or some cheap version of silk. Summer has been fun. I enjoyed Pride Month. If you enjoyed your Pride Month, press, number 2 in the comments. And let me know, what did you enjoy about Pride Month? I was actually hoping to speak to a couple of folks during Pride Month, but my schedule was just very tight, and kind of, neither here nor there was able to make the right moment for this. But upcoming episodes will be highlighting some folks that I've been planned to speak with. So planned content coming out. So make sure you definitely subscribe and follow Chai Me a River and share it with people that you think would really benefit from my debauchery. So I want to get into a very important question that people have asked me, the expert, the resident bisexual, brown, Punjabi, poppy, top, daddy, ruin your life, Lamba. What are the good motivators in my life? Like, what motivates me as the resident bisexual, Punjabi, poppy, top, daddy, Lamba, shoobity bop bop boop, to live my life authentically, to live my life generously? Well, I'm looking for the generous people because I don't think I can do this. I see. The thing is, I would love to have a podcast. I would love to have a podcast as I have a fucking podcast. I would love to do this full time if I was actually making coin. See, I'm not making coin right now. What I am doing is exposure, and honestly, I should probably get some clinical mental health hours for this. I'm not even a mental health clinician, but I am mental. So I should be getting some exposure-related therapy credits. You know, like fuck a copay. I should be getting the credits so that I can embark on my mental health journey because I am mental. But I would love to do this full time if somebody was able to finance my rent for a studio. If somebody, companies, all these other people watching my podcast would share and, generate the audience cross-marketing via, the customer. I would love to do that type of shit. But yeah, I just, I enjoy talking. Obviously, I enjoy talking to myself. I enjoy recording myself in my apartment. But I also enjoy talking to people. Again, when you have a full-time job and that job is kind of shitty right now, you don't feel the motivation. But back to the original question, which was from one of my followers, who submitted some hot, juicy chai. So I'll be getting into that in a couple of minutes. 40 minutes later. What are some good motivators for me in my life? And I'm going to try to weave them into stuff that, I would encourage other people to do. And then also, at the very end, I'm going to segue with something and lead us into that paper that I want to talk about. So the first thing that really is a large key motivator for me is my fitness. Yeah. Is my fitness, is my health, is my working out, I believe that we don't move enough as a society. I've said this before, as I talk with my hands. We don't really move enough in our society. We don't. We are lazy. Americans are lazy. As I'm looking at Delta's calendar for July, saying I'm still a fat, lazy American. Love you, Delta. And it's true. It's true. They want to make America healthy again. Maha. If you know, you know. But it's never been healthy. It's never been healthy. Just like it's never been great. It's never been great, right? Now, it's been great for a select few, and we see that every single day in the ecosystem of news, Apple notifications, Instagram, all the content creators who are sharing stuff about, blah, 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 his fat orange cunt-ass face, this, that, all that shit, all that type of shit. But it's never been great, right? So for me, I personally think, and this is actually there's a lot of studies on this, right? People in America, we don't walk enough, right? We don't get to exercise enough. We don't get to practice mindfulness and, more alternative medicine type of like workouts. So, like obviously yoga, tai chi, meditation. These things are so good for our health that we don't get to do it, right? Fitness and working out, and it's not always about a goal. Now, in the beginning of the episode, I said that, yeah, I'm like really like wanting to, focus on my physicality, right? Although a lot of y'all girly pops do enjoy my physicality already, so cha. But I could lose another 15 pounds, give or take. I also believe that, yeah, in America we don't really walk enough because we don't get enough time to walk, right? And we also don't live in walkable cities. That's a public health problem, right? So we can't make America healthy again if it's never been healthy to begin with, right? I mean, the lettuce is making people shit out fucking shards and fucking like a rocket launcher. The eggs are giving people salmonella. The fucking the fast food is making people fat. The creatinine, protein shake, protein this, protein coffee, protein juice, protein fucking nut, protein fucking, I don't know. They're going to start making protein lube at this point. There's so much emphasis on protein, 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 protein. It's like, eat a fucking vegetable. That's a good motivator in my life. Eat a vegetable. Eat some fruit. We're already fucking fruits. You are what you eat. Eat a fruit. Eat a veggie. Eat something that's real.
Suck a dick. Guess what?
Stop eating fake shit. Stop eating fake shit. It really fucking pisses me off. And this is leading into my other thing, cooking good food, right? So what motivates me in my life is actually being able to cook really good food. As somebody who loves to cook, and I would say that I'm a pretty good chef, according to my mother, and my boyfriend, and my family, and my friends, and, James Beard as well. I'm a pretty good cook. I also like to bake, which obviously, sometimes is not healthy when you're baking like a cake or like brownies or something. But I do think cooking home meals is super important. Now, I know not everyone can do that. Their jobs require them to be around the clock. That's a whole different story. But you can do little things throughout the week to cook, really nice food. I also think that cooking is therapeutic. I know for maybe some people, they think it's like anxiety ridden, sorry. Or it causes them to become like really frantic because they're not really sure about it. Buy a cookbook or follow a recipe on, Google or something. Unfortunately, Food Network doesn't show like step-by-step cooking anymore like they used to. So I'm very fortunate that my generation, we grew up in that time period. So if you got to watch Food Network, you basically got to see how like people made fish and chicken and veggie dishes and appetizers and really learned how to host and wine and dine people. I also learned that from my family. I mean, we're really big on that. So we're also brown. So it makes, more sense as well. But cooking good food, that really motivates me in my life. It motivates me to enjoy my life, enjoy the skills that I have, right? So these are like, again, positive reinforcement things. And just also like engage with people, right? Cooking good food, entertaining and wining and dining, maybe your friends or, having your friends over and cooking a meal for your loved ones is, again, another really important aspect of life. Another motivator for me is shopping. I love to shop. Shop till you drop. La 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 la. Shopping is really fun. It's hot in here, guys. I'm sorry. Like my fucking back right now, it's so sweaty. Like if somebody needed to fucking drink water, they could lick my back. They'd probably get enough electrolytes. Who needs coconut water when you got Punjabi poppy water? Drink Punjabi poppy water. Poppy, I already Punjabi know her. Hey, shout out Poppy if you want to sponsor me, I think you all should tag Poppy in the comments so that they know that I'm looking. Are you looking? I'm looking to partner. And I think it would be such a cute little, like a partnership, a collaboration. Punjabi Poppy. Poppi. There you go, baby. So here we are. And then the last thing is really spending time and seeing my family, my friends, my partner, my loved ones. All those things are super important. And this is really essentially called social support, right? Again, I'm explaining these things in layman's terms because it is important to explain them in layman's terms. And I actually wanted to segue into another segment of today's topic because, again, as I mentioned earlier, we published a paper today. My colleague actually led this kind of initiative, this paper, this project, and I was part of it, and it's been really fortunate to be able to publish this and actually talk all about this now because it's been in the years of the making. So I actually want to start because it is July, and I realize that a lot of people don't know that it's Disability Pride Month. So happy Disability Pride Month. For those who don't know what Disability Pride is, it really centers around the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. And essentially, just like us, sisters have Pride Month for LGBTQ.
It's Pride Month. I haven't heard of that. So you just get a whole month to celebrate that you suck dicks?
People with disabilities also have a Pride Month where they can really focus on acceptance of themselves, inclusion, bringing awareness to issues, and then also just, connectedness, right? So essentially, you could swap out Pride for anything. Not Pride, sorry. You could swap out like the first part of Pride for anything, right? LGBTQ Pride, you have like Indian Pride, we don't have those things, but you can have Indian Pride, right? But essentially, we're, again, like I always say, more similar than we're different, right? It's other people that want us to think that we're different, but in reality, we're very alike. So the ADA actually is a law. It became a law in 1990, and it's a civil rights law that essentially prohibits discrimination against. I don't know if you can hear the plane. Today I've been really interrupted. Girl, interrupted. So for those who don't know, the ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, is a law, right? It became law in 1990. It's a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities in many areas of our public life. So including jobs, schools, transportation, as well as some of the private and public sector places that are open to the general public, right? The purpose of the law is really to make sure that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else, right? So having equal opportunity. The ADA gives civil rights protections to individuals with disabilities similar to those provided to the individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, age, and religion. It guarantees equal opportunities for those individuals in public accommodations, employment, transportation, state and local government services, and telecommunications, right? So a lot of these everyday things, mechanisms that we actually experience, right? Rails, ramps, elevators, obviously the disability parking spots for people with the placards, accommodations at work, accommodations when you're doing the job application process, for those who may, it may be pertinent to them right now. Those are actually things that are protected by ADA, right? The ADA created that opportunity to exist, right? So that people with disabilities could prosper and have an opportunity just like anyone else, right? So equity, right? Essentially, it's equity, the E word that people hate. nowadays, right? So I actually, so with that being said, oops, I'm just grabbing myself. So with that being said, I actually want to jump into talking about the results from my paper. Or not my paper, sorry. The results from our paper. I have to get used to that. So I will drop the link to that paper in the comments or in the description. So definitely take a look at, accessing, reading. But today I'm really just going to do like an overview summary of the findings and really just talk about the importance of this study, right? So the study is entitled Perceived Mental Health Needs Among LGBTQ plus Adults Living with Spinal Cord Injuries and Disorders. And this is a paper that's been published in the Journal of Spinal Cord Medicine, and it is basically it's been published today, but if you're watching this, it's probably, I edited it and it's been a couple of weeks text, and setting the stage on this for people who may not know a lot about spinal cord injuries and disorders. But essentially these are people living with disabilities, right? So often people who are living with like paralysis of partial of their spine, and then there's also paralysis of like, the totality of the spine, so tetraplegia, where 4 limbs are paralyzed essentially. And then you have other associated diseases or disorders like spinal stenosis, multiple sclerosis, as well as ALS, which is a very debilitating disease. Not to say that SCI and other ones can't be, challenging and debilitating, but that one progressively is debilitating. So people with SCI or spinal cord injuries and disorders often have heightened risk for like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, yet they really experience significant barriers to accessing mental health care. And then this is really compounded, right, for LGBTQ people, right? We know this as LGBTQ plus people. We know, it doesn't take you to have a disability to really understand some of the barriers that are experienced broadly by our population. But within a disability population, those are almost, amplified even more, potentially heightened even more, right? So really there's not been much studies, and this study is actually one of the first to look at LGBTQ plus people specifically with spinal cord injuries and disorders. Now, some of my prior work that I've published in American Journal of Public Health, as well as the Annals of LGBTQ Population and Public Health, as well as JAMA and other journals as well, has really looked at more disability focused, broad strokes of disability, right? So collapsing people or using self-reported data. But the uniqueness and the novelty of this project is actually in its concept to talk specifically about people living with SCI, which is a good majority of individuals who may be experiencing some sort of disability, right? And often veterans are at a higher rate in terms of having spinal cord injury, but this project actually looked at adults across the country, interviewing 32 individuals across the country. These interviews were done virtually, so we used, phone, and essentially, spoke to people on the phone, and collected this information. And essentially the objective was to understand what those mental health needs are. So the summary of the results kind of starts in, a bunch of different topics or themes, right? The first topic really was focused on the marginalization can negatively impact perceptions of mental health and provider relationships, right? So what this really meant is that people felt that being LGBTQ could potentially expose themselves to having, these negative feelings about how their mental health services were going to be taken into consideration and the relationships that those individuals had with their providers, right? One quote was, I always put my healthcare part first. I worry that the government will cut services for anybody identified as trans or non-binary, as they've already done. Now, mind you, these studies, these interviews were done at a very different time in our country, prior to this current administration. So these perceptions and these feelings are coming at a time where, a lot of the support was already embedded in our public health, in our healthcare systems. But now they may even be more worsened, and honestly, probably stretched even more. These gaps are not closed enough, as we know right now, particularly with dismantling of all various LGBTQ and health equity focused projects and research. So while not disclosing, made some participants feel safer, it actually led to limited authentic connections with their providers. And this reduced the opportunities for effective mental health care, right? So if you don't feel, comfortable sharing your identity, then you might not be your authentic self. And I always say this, right? If you don't actually, and this is just like any experience, right? If you don't talk about who you are to your friends, your family, your loved ones, then nobody's going to know what you're struggling, right? Or struggling with or experiencing. Another theme which is really important is that providers should see patients as individuals using an intersectional lens, right? So to avoid stereotyping, participants really wanted providers to recognize the LGBTQ community's heterogeneity. And now this is what I talk about all the time, right? So it was really cool to see this kind of populate through the interviews. People look at the LGBTQ community as if everybody in the community can relate to one another. That's just not true. There's diversity within the LGBT community. You need to be inclusive to everybody. And this is 100% true. We know this. I talk about this from the day one that I made this podcast to prior to making silly little TikToks. We need to really recognize our heterogeneity, right? So our differences, right? Even though we're queer, well, also this is another thing. Some of us are queer. Some of us are gay. Not everyone who's gay is queer. But everyone who's queer is probably gay. I'm going to leave you with that. You're like, huh? But that's truth, right? Some of us identify, again, I've mentioned this before, some of us may identify as gay, bisexual, pansexual, lesbian, etc. And those just might be our sexual orientations. Now, that's fine. If you feel that way, you feel that way. I can agree to disagree, right, on that concept. Now, others, like myself, my friends, and others that I know, I'm like, what else comes from friends? They would identify as bisexual or queer. I use queer as my umbrella term because everything about me is in that area, right? I see the world through that lens. I see the world through the experience of somebody and also currently experiencing things that are going against the majority of individuals who identify as queer, bisexual, pan, etc., right? So there is so much diversity inside of us. Well, there is inside of us too. There's a lot of diversity in some of y'all. Actually, I take that back. Some of y'all just be doing it with the same cookie cutter men or women or thems. So I take that back. Another theme of this study, as you might tell, I actually am summarizing the study, but I'm also throwing a little bit of spice in there as well. A third theme was that providers should be competent with LGBTQ and SCID issues. This is, no surprise. We all know that we need more competent LGBTQ health providers. There's not enough of them, and if you are a healthcare provider and you want to be more LGBTQ affirming or competent, start with reading this paper. Start with reading things that focus on this. Go to the Fenway Institute, go to the HRC's website, and find resources that are available to you. Right? Be open, be sensitive, be kind. I mean, those are things that I think every healthcare provider should learn, hopefully in medical school and in healthcare schools or whatever type of healthcare field you're in. But you'll be surprised. Not everyone is like that. Providers who are also members of the queer or LGBTQ community and SCID communities are valued, right? I mean, it's great. A lot of us do strive to see queer or LGBTQ plus providers. Again, on the flip side, not everyone wanted that, right? Some people do like that their providers may be different than them. That way they can learn a little bit more from their perspectives, or that they can have an honest and more open opinion with them. But then again, someone from your community could actually help stimulate that conversation and just know things that maybe a non-LGBTQ plus provider may not know. Similarly, those having a spinal cord injury, it's difficult, as participants mentioned, that you always have to explain to these providers what it feels like to have a spinal cord injury, what it feels like beyond just the physical part of your health issues, but what actually surrounds it socially and mentally. Therapeutic support groups should address LGBTQ and SCID issues, right? This was really emphasized by participants, right? One individual had mentioned that in their initial physical rehab, they'd make you go to these groups, but they were really heterosexual oriented. I didn't feel comfortable at all bringing up any gay questions. Nobody said, if you're queer, you can share with us, or come to us another time and ask questions. I just felt very out of place in general. And this is very true, right? A lot of healthcare is heteronormative, right? Just with sex. Sex is very heteronormative. We get taught sex is just between man and a woman, but there's a variety of different sexual pleasures that people can experience, and emphasizing that these things are important also when you're living with a disability, right? And lastly, social support also, like I mentioned earlier, plays a fundamental role in mental health and well-being. Participants identify that their friends, significant others, family members, whether that be biological, legal, or chosen, and the communities that they participate in were core sources of support. Chosen family members were often close friends or significant others and other caregivers who are also LGBTQ plus themselves. Were very important, right? One participant mentioned that we call each other our gamily, right? I thought that was really cute. Gay family. 90% of the people I spend my daily time with are also queer in some way. I really love that quote because it is true. You do find that sense of comfort and ability to be yourself around people who are also like you. So that's why community, social support, as I mentioned, a really good motivator for my mentee, for my mentality, as well as your physical health, right? Participate in things that are going to give you opportunities to learn from one another. Learn. That's a key word. Learn from other people. Learn from other people. From different lived experiences. You're not going to learn anything from somebody who is exactly the same like you. You need to expand your friend groups, right? We talk about this all the time. Expand your community engagements, your whatever engagements, and learn something, okay? If you don't read a book, read a book. None of you are doing that either, so here we are. And I said that was the last one, but the last theme actually was increased access to LGBTQ and SCID mental health services and resources is needed. Overwhelmingly, participants expressed that distrust and frustration accessing providers who are competent or open to learning about LGBTQ and SCID issues was really important, and those often created barriers for them. Participants also emphasized the importance of updating those websites, provider profiles, so that people and patients can really identify, providers, provider directories of who is LGBTQ or maybe living with a spinal cord injury. There's options like to select a preference if you want a male or a female provider. Why not have one where it says LGBTQ? I've seen that some places, right? I've seen that at my healthcare system where they have like a little button where you can filter and see like LGBTQ like health providers, right? Very few, but still a cool button to have. But yeah, I really, wanted to highlight this work, not only because it's hot off the press, so it literally came out today, but because this has really been a project in the making. I had the fortunate opportunity of kind of co-writing and really leading this grant when it was in the earlier stages of its kind of birth, I like to call it. So I learned a lot in the process, being able to write the grant, put up these methodologies, and understand what we need it as a community, and what the people in those communities also need from us. So it's been really fruitful to get to see this kind of come together. So if you are interested in reading the full paper, I will put the link at the bottom. And if you're having problems accessing it, please let me know. I can send you a share link that I have. That is, I believe there's a limit for free shares, but just DM me or message me. So yeah, the moral of the story is with this paper, as I get to the conclusions, right? That LGBTQ plus people with spinal cord injuries really needed this affirming clinical care and mental health support. But then also these things come in our upstream factors of how we are perceiving our own communities and how those communities are built, right? These structural factors that potentially can also affect the way we interact with our health, the way we present our health, and what that actually means for our mental health, our well-being, as well as our social support systems in our lives. So if you take anything away, the biggest thing is that we need more affirming healthcare for those who are experiencing, and those who are basically the most vulnerable within our LGBTQ plus community, people living with disabilities. And we need better systems to support one another in our broader LGBTQ community and in our social context communities of where we live. So those are the big TLDR of the paper. So let's take a break. Ooh. Guys, it's like, if you looked at my back right now, I'm not going to post it, but if you looked at my back, it's disgusting. So, well, welcome back. We are kind of going to be closing up today's episode with some juicy chai, hot spicy chai. But before I do that, let's talk about one thing that, again, this is user-generated content, right? Essentially, followers and listeners of the Chime a River podcast fan base customer service etiquette. Now, I can talk about this forever. I talk about this with my friends, with my family, with my boyfriend, with everybody. Where's the hello? Where's the how are you? Where's the what can I get you? Or how can I help you? Where is all of that? Where is all of that? Where has that been hiding? Where is all of that good shit? How come? Now I'm going to talk about one particular incident. It's not really an incident, but it's just like an experience. Well, actually, no. Let me talk about it. So I'm a very avid Nordstrom's goer. I do love shopping at Nordstrom. I grew up shopping at Nordstrom's, right? My family is like a Nordstrom's family. We also are Macy's family. I'm not shouting out. Got to shout out everybody because, they're all going to come for me. Just kidding. You're going to Nordstrom's. You're so privileged. Oh, my God. My family would never be able to do that. Uh-huh. But I grew up going to Nordstrom's. And the one thing about Nordstrom's that people don't know is, well, maybe not anymore, but the reason people go to Nordstrom and not maybe Neiman Marcus or, Saks Fifth Avenue as much, is because of their customer service, right? They were known for their customer service. I also used to work at Nordstrom's when I was like younger. And that was like our first thing was our training was on about treating the customer right? And the main goal was that the customer should leave the store having a solution to whatever they were coming in with, right? So we were trained, when I was working there, that not the customer is always right, but make the customer leave happy and satisfied, right? So one thing about Nordstrom is that they don't really have a return policy, right? That's one of the reasons why a lot of people shop there, myself included, because I'm a hoarder of shopping. I like to buy stuff from online or buy stuff in the store. Sometimes I, forget to take the tags off. Like I had a shirt that I bought from there probably from a year ago, and I forgot about it because I just like tucked it away in my closet. And I forgot to take the tag off, so it was like literally there. So I actually went back and returned it. So that's one thing. You can actually return shit like that. You can also, and then this is not to say go do that, but there are perks to that, right? Like I'm a person where I really only buy my shoes from Nordstrom's because I already know that if the shoes are going to be uncomfortable after a month, that I can take it back. And I know you're probably thinking, wow, you're like a sleazy, like, pig. Well, yeah. I don't really give a fuck. You guys think that the corporations give a fuck about us? No, they don't. Also, if they created a policy, I'm going to abide by the policy, which is, hey, if you're not satisfied, bring it back. Now, I'm not saying wear the fucking item for like 5 years and then take it back, right? When it's like on the last fucking brim of the plastic rubber sole. No, I'm saying in a month it was uncomfortable and I wore it a couple of times and I stopped wearing it and it's been a month. I didn't wear it for 30 days consecutively. But anyways, whether I did or not, it didn't matter. They still took it back. But what I'm saying is, where is that kind of candor anymore? Like you go into Nordstrom's and it used to be that you would walk in to the like beauty area, because a faggot, you'd walk into the beauty spots and you would be greeted by all the little, Persian moms working there, the gay men who, at that time they weren't really gay, they just really liked makeup, but we knew that they were gay, and the old white women. And then the Asian women, right, who are working at like Shiseido and Lancome and all that other stuff. So where is that now? How come you walk through the aisles and they have hired the most dumb ass bitches? I used dumb twice, I'm sorry. But really the most uncustomer service professionals ever. People, they don't want to help you. Right? And see, I'm a sucker. Like, I am a sucker for good customer service. Like, if somebody is helping me out really nicely, I'm probably going to buy that thing. Right? Like, if somebody is helping me and showing me these creams or face products and yada, 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 all these other things, I'm most likely probably going to buy it, right? Unless I don't like the texture on my hand or whatever. And then, you get swindled into buying it. Oh, there's a sale. There's a gift with purchase. Well, I have to buy something else now, right? Like I'm a sucker.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy.
I really am a sucker for that type of shit. I also work there, so I know that it's nice stuff, right? They have good quality stuff, right? And they often give you nice gifts and they give you a bunch of samples. It's like when you go into Sephora and the lady gives you like a couple of samples, you feel good, right? Like you feel like, ooh, free stuff. But where is that? Like you go in there and it's crickets. Like nobody wants to sell. Is it because you guys are not making commission anymore? Like back in the day, you'd make anywhere between 5 to 10% commission on selling products, right? In the whole store on average, right? Whatever it was. But like, is you not making commission anymore? Is that what it is? Like, hello, Nordstrom's, hello. Also, how come like the women and the men there, and sorry, I said women first, but really there's a lot of women who work there, right? How come they don't know anything? So like, who's not teaching their staff anything? The managers, right? The assistant manager, the department manager, they're not teaching people anything. Especially, and I'm going to throw shade to this one. There's a store here in Southern California of Nordstrom's in Southern Orange County at a very big mall that a lot of people might come to after they've, studied very hard, in college. So I'm going to leave it at that. But that store is the shittiest store of Nordstrom's that I've ever been to. I'm sorry. I will shout out my favorite store, and that's the South Coast Plaza store. So if you've been to South Coast Plaza Nordstrom or you're a listener, I love your store. You guys and girls and theys and queers are so nice. You're the best. They're the reason I only go to that store. I only go to that store. You always have so much stuff. Your stock is usually never less. And you are just good customers, right? Because you know that the clients are there, that they're going to buy stuff, blah, 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 right? Whether that's the point or not. But that other store, piece of shit. The other store, they work there like it's their last fucking day on earth. And like it's their last shift ever, right? Because you know, like when you work on your last shift, you're like, girl, like I'm gonna fuck over all the customers today, or like, girl, I'm gonna give all the customers free fucking samples and free shit and discounts. I know I've done that before. On like my last day in retail, I used to give people, oh, it didn't say it's 40%. Oh yeah, here, take it. Oh yeah, 30%. Oh yeah, oh yeah, no problem at all. Let me help you. That's the problem. People, especially this new generation, the Gen Z or whoever they are, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Nobody knows the end goal is to get the bitch out the door, right? Like, get the cocksucking whore out the door happy. People don't understand customer service anymore. The goal is to make the customer happy. And also, if you make somebody happy, wouldn't you feel good? I think that's the problem. That's why everyone's fucked up. Everyone has anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, fucking borderline personality disorder, PTSD, all these things.
All right.
But they don't realize that make someone happy, you probably will feel good. A little endorphin will just kind of out of you.
Suck a dick. Guess what?
You get out of you. Make somebody happy, let them leave the store. Repeat it with me. Make somebody happy, let them leave the store. And then on your break, suck them off on the third floor bathroom.
The hungry girls.
How you doing? I'm telling you. I've gone on tangents for way too long. Now, we're going to get into this next segmente. And the segment's actually called, What's the Chai in Your Life?
I'm not regular.
I'm so crazy. I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're getting like orgasmic, you know? But I really implore you, to watch the video because I think it's more fun watching it. Plus, it gives you something pretty to look at, you know, me.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy.
So I have I'm soliciting information from people, not soliciting nudes, but soliciting information. If you want to send nudes, send them to Willem, apparently, or yeah. But I'm soliciting chai, spicy chai, hot chai in your life, basically the gossip, you know, the drama. So if you have drama in your life and you want me to talk about it and air your shit out here on this national platform, then submit your stories. You can submit it anonymously. It doesn't have to be your name. You can make up a name. You could, use somebody else's name if you hate them, and submit it on the forum. The forum will be linked in the comments below, but it's basically like a Google form. So, and I'm not tracking your email or information. It's just like the timestamp that comes in, which automatically comes for any survey. And then if you want to put your name or not. So you can leave it anonymous, and I think you can leave it blank. But this is where people have opportunity to answer the beautiful question of, what's a spicy chai tea in your life? Share the hottest tea happening in your life for me to give my 2 cents on this episode. So I'm actually going to start with this one story, which I think is a very long story, and I want to kind of get into it. So let's get into it. I hope I will read it and not reveal anyone's secrets. I also very quickly perused it, so I'm hoping that it's not personally identifying. So this is from Okay, this is from Brand. Okay, so here's the story. I recently graduated and got my bachelor's. I'm a gay, queer, brown, and proud person. Happy to have made it this far. Made so many friendships, mentorships, and professional acquaintances. The tea here is I got close to one of my professors, and now he wants to fuck me as my grad present. Let's call him Fernando. Fernando is super respectful, well respected in his profession. And yes, he's part of the community as well. He's always super professional, and I never thought in a million years something like this would happen with him. I took a course with him during undergrad and we became close. Went to his office hours and we would have deep conversations, talk about the queer community, politics, school, gossip, and even crushes. Don't want to exaggerate, but in one of those, you could feel the sexual tension in the room. Guess it was more profound when we realized we were each other's type, talking about it during office hours. Nothing happened, but recently we started talking again due to me graduating. He invited me out for a drink. We met up again. During the conversations, we had that sexual tension. Could also be from the alcohol as well. And we kind of made out. Kind of. I think the tension, the alcohol, and the desire there was there. Nobody at the bar knew us, and it just felt nice, but also a little in shock. Like, yo, is this really happening? I'm sorry, guys, this is a long story. I was a student for a year, but I'm not technically a student anymore. He apologized, saying maybe that wasn't right to do, but I told him that it was okay, that it was mutual. He told me that if it was okay and wanted to explore further, maybe we could hook up at his place and get some privacy if I was down. He gave me his number. Now I'm sitting here graduated. Like, should I go through with it? He's really nice, and I don't feel he's taking advantage of me. It felt mutual. Never thought this would happen to me. You know, it feels like a fantasy. So would like your 2 cents to know if I should go through it with it or not. Or just thoughts on the whole situation. Thanks again. And this is from Brandon Aguilar. And this is not his real name due to privacy issues. Well, thank you, Brandon, for this beautiful story. I say, so you want my 2 cents? I say go for it. Short and sweet. Go for it. You're not a student anymore. You're 2 consenting adults. You clearly have some sort of chemistry and sexual tension, which is always hot. You 2 are educated, which is also a plus point. So shout out to the education divas. And, you know, another point is that you had a good time. You know, I think a lot of the times in our queer community, in our gay community, we forget that we're allowed to be desired. We're allowed to have our fantasies, and we're allowed to feel wanted, right? And I think it's beautiful as, you know, another brown person to hear this story. It's wonderful. But also to hear it from kind of this professional, you know, in this professional setting. I think your professor, Fernando, what a beautiful name. I think your, not my freaking thing coming down. I think your professor was being very professorial, right? He was being very adult. He was being very professional because he did not act on it. Clearly, he could get a vibe that you were probably into him and he was probably into you. But he didn't act on it when you were a student, right? I think that's the most important part, that he didn't really, you know, act on it while he was maybe your direct professor, because then at that point there's kind of like, you know, a little bit of power dynamic, a little bit of that politics. But that's not to say that, you know, people are not going to go do that. I mean, I know lots of cock-sucking hungry whores who would do that. Have I done that? Maybe. Perhaps. But no, I think you should, and I can talk about that another time. But I think you should, you know, take it, you know, you have his number, text him, go on those dates. Even if it's maybe he really is interested in seeing you further, and fucking is one of the things that he just wants to do. He wants to get it over with. I actually had a conversation with one of my friends the other day. I was like, in the very early stages, a lot of us gays and a lot of us queers are like, oh, everything revolves around sex, right? Sex. And, it's true. That's kind of like the point. Duh. I think that's kind of the point. But also at the same time, we were so marginalized and vilified for having sex as gay people, as queer people. So of course we're going to take our power back and own it via sexual awakening and sexual liberty and that sexual freedom. So I would say, a lot of people who are in this dating and dating space, people say you don't want to have sex, you don't want to ruin the vibe, you don't want to ruin the relationship or ruin the dating progress. But for some people, I actually think it's better to get it out of the way, because what if your vibes are never there, right? What if you've gone on 3 dates and then you decide to have sex and it was really shitty sex? Right? I'm just saying, what if it was, right? Then you've maybe wasted these 3 times. Maybe you don't really like the person. They have a lot of unwanted characteristics, but you're giving them a chance because you think they're hot, etc. Yada, yada, yada. We've all been there. We've all done that. We probably do it still, right? Who knows? People are still advancing their interest in whom they like. But I was having this conversation. I was like, maybe you should just have sex with the person. Do it, get it out of the way, and move on. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you make a big deal out of it, the other person's going to make a big deal out of it, I think. However, to each their own. Some people just can't do that, and that's fine, right? They get the feelings, they get the connectedness, but I say go for your Professor Fernando, Brandon, and see how the vibe is. I'm wishing you the best, because I think this will be really interesting. So I hope you... the dates or the whatever, takes off, but also report back. I want to know. Drop the story again in the chat. I'm very excited to hear this. Yeah. Cool. Well, we have talked a lot. We have spoken a lot. And by we, I mean me. And you probably listened. You're listening to me. You don't listen to me. I had a boyfriend like that once. You don't listen to me. You're never listening to me. Yeah, I'm not listening to you because, honestly, I don't want to. But that boyfriend was, garbage. But today I've talked a lot. I've actually gone through the gigs. I've gone through ups and downs of not my own personal reflection, highlights of some of the cool research that's been done, as well as taken your guys' stories and talked about it and given my 2 cents. So if you have spicy chai, what's the hot chai in your life, definitely drop the story below in the link, in the form below. You can keep it anonymous. You can keep it real. If you want, do whatever you want. Pick somebody's name that you hate so that their name's out there. Just kidding. Don't do that. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it in the next upcoming episodes. So until next time, keep things very spicy, very hot, very chai. And I'll see you again. Take care. Bye. Homosexual.